What you smoking on, bitch? What you smoking on? What you smoking on, bitch? What you smoking on? I get so high.
Alright everybody, welcome to a TC review of Far Cry 3. This is Dan, SS Lost here with Matt.
Hello.
And I guess we're gonna just jump in because we didn't come here to bullshit.
We didn't.
So Matt, I gotta tell you, I think Far Cry 3 is probably the game of the year.
Yeah, it's definitely the only game that was actually worth the $60 that I spent to play it so far, so I guess it does deserve that title.
Yeah, that's a big one. When you talk about value for $60, you're actually getting a lot with this fucking game, I'll tell you.
It is one of a kind in terms of value. It's like you walk into Walmart, and that's pretty much what this game is.
The good thing about it, though, is that not only do you get like a decent amount of play out of, you know, any specific game mode, but just across all the game modes, there's just so much shit to do. Like, you got a full multiplayer mode, you got a fucking single player that's, I mean, it's a borderline RPG the way it plays out, and then you got the map editor, which is probably the best map editor that's ever been in a console game.
Yeah, and I've played this game, and I've played all the game modes, and I still haven't even touched the map editor, and it's like, it's that big that you can fall in love with anything you really want to. Like, the only thing about the multiplayer is the fact there's no real lobby system, but if you play alone, it won't matter. So if you like multiplayer games, you'll like this for sure.
And I also forgot about co-op too. There's a pretty fucking long co-op campaign too.
Yeah, the co-op.
And that is a party system, and that is a fucking blast to play.
The co-op mode is literally just like Left 4 Dead, pretty much, with the 4 simultaneous people trying to do a certain objective, where your main obstacle is just, in this game, mercenaries in the way, and it's pretty much shoot 'em up style, but it's still upgradable stuff. It's the same thing as pretty much multiplayer. Your upgrades span across co-op and your regular multiplayer stuff, which is kinda good, but if you're hardcore and you care about leaderboards and all that stupid shit, then you might not like it. Because I looked today at it, and I have like a kill death of like 435 to like 3 deaths. So obviously that's a co-op thing, not a real multiplayer thing. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But it's really fun because I think it caters to both casual and like hardcore gamers, so it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting game mode. I would agree with that Left 4 Dead kind of feel to it. It's obviously a completely different game, but it does have that like fun co-op feel. I don't even know like what the last co-op-y game that I was really into was, but it is a lot of fun. It's more fun to play co-op than it is multiplayer with your buddies. And I gotta say the map editor is just, again, it's just amazing. I've made a couple of maps, nothing really crazy, but there's just so much you can do with that thing.
Yeah, I really want to try that. Like, it seems like it's very intuitive. It's probably like the best one since, you know, Halo 3 at Forge that everyone was talking about. That's pretty much this.
It's not like Forge is very simple, and Forge is like retard mode. You can just pick it up, but I don't know, this takes probably a good couple hours to get used to, but once you get used to it, you can do anything with it.
Yeah, I was really, you had made a map, and it was really, like, it was cool because it was symmetrical, and it seemed like it could be a multiplayer map itself. Like, it was fun. And when I saw that, it was kind of like, it could give, it's inspirational to a point where you're just like, okay, like, you can pretty much do literally whatever you want. It's really cool.
Yeah, the map you're talking about, I literally have like a village just sticking up out of the water. It was just kind of like one of those things. I just had the water there, I started sticking fucking buildings down. I'm like, well, this could work. And it actually turned into a pretty decent map, I think.
Yeah, no, it was really, it was fun to play on, and I don't know, like I said, the most important thing about it was intuitive, so you could actually play it and, you know, have a match on it. It's not like, it isn't like Forge. It's just the impact on the gaming community was like what Forge was for its time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the original Far Cry on Xbox at least had a map editor, but I mean this one is just times 5 what that was, and
Yeah.
Forge was kind of like, okay, I can move a crate, cool, but this is just something completely different.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to, even though this game is based, like, for, PC, to make a console port of a map editor is pretty difficult to do. So I think it's pretty interesting.
But the execution there was pretty much flawless, I have to say. This would probably stand up well to the PC version, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's pretty cool when a console port of a game, most games that, are made for PC actually translates well to a console. And I think, I don't know if Far Cry 2 had a map editor, but Far Cry 2, I think it did.
It did, I played it.
Yeah, and I think,
it was not as intuitive, though. It was weird as fuck.
yeah, I didn't try it. I only played the story in Far Cry 2, and it is much different than the one in the third one. Like, the whole concept is just completely different.
Alright, so let's get into the story, because we somehow haven't even talked about it yet.
That's what that transition was for, you numbskull.
I know it was. I just wanted to be clear where we were going.
Okay, Dad, let's do this, Bob.
But, yeah, the story is just... I mean, it's nothing, like, crazy groundbreaking, but it is fun to play. Just like, it reminds me a lot of Skyrim, but, like, the mechanics feel almost more fluid than Skyrim did. Or any Bethesda game, really.
And I didn't play Skyrim, but it did remind me of another Bethesda game, which was, for some reason, it reminded me of Fallout, like when I first started playing it, with the map and the icons and the feeling that there was a main storyline, and obviously in most sandbox type games like this one you can, deviate from that main story, but I don't know, there's something about this game that just reminded me a lot of Fallout when it first started.
It kind of, the comparison I made when it first came out, when, like, nobody else had it, was, like, it feels like Mercenaries meets Far Cry or Skyrim. Yeah, I meant to say Fallout. Fallout or Skyrim. Mercenaries 2, that was a fun game.
I liked Mercenaries, it was too bad that it was too glitchy, but I digress. The other comparison I made it to for a second, and I don't even know if it was because of this, but I kind of thought it felt sort of like Assassin's Creed, where you have to go up radio towers and reveal parts of the map, just like in Assassin's Creed where you have to go up, like high buildings or like crow's nest areas, like church bells and shit, and synchronize or whatever, and you get the map revealed. So that was my other comparison.
Yeah, they touted that as like a first-person platforming kind of thing, and it was done pretty well, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it is fun to go up those. You get free guns every time you unlock one, so that's good.
Right. That's that was the only real criticism I had, like, without getting into the actual like story itself, the learning curve, if you take the time, well, I don't know, this is my opinion on it, you might have a different one, but the learning curve for me, when you start the game and you pretty much do all the other side tasks, which is something that I like to do, like I just like to ignore the story and then like get more powerful along the way. But when you get all the free guns and like everything, and you've increased all your skills, and you have like 20 skill points sitting there, but all of them are locked because you have to do more of the main story, it's kind of ridiculous. Like it gets almost too easy to a point.
See, I agree with that. I mean, at the end game, I was a freak. But I didn't do all that extra shit. I just started playing the story right away, and I was getting my ass kicked by this game the entire fucking playthrough.
Yeah. And I think that's the game's way of, like, teaching people to slow down. Like,
yeah.
One kind of funny thing is in this game, for those who haven't played it yet, one of the big things in it is hunting for really anything. One of it's, like, expanding your rucksack, your wallet, ammo pouches.
Full crafting system, and you can build all sorts of shit. Rucksack lets you carry more shit, wallet more money, quiver more arrows, fucking all sorts of crazy shit, and it's all by different animals, and there are a fuckload of different types of animals in this game too.
Yeah, and the one instance I was having a problem with was finding fucking boars. I couldn't find them for the longest time, and you need them I think for more, like a bigger ammo pouch or something, which is really important because you start off the game, you can carry like one mag, and it's just bullshit.
And one weapon,
Yeah.
which is also bullshit.
Yeah. So, I mean, once you kind of figure it out, though, like, it's not even like a game you really have to figure out. Like, you can jump right in and have a lot of fun. But, once you figure out, like, what the animals you need, where they are, and everything, it's a lot more satisfying when you actually get to them and when you're able to find them, kill them. They're not always where they say they are. Sometimes the symbol is, like, 40 fucking million miles away from where they actually end up.
Yeah, that's true. I ignored hunting for the most part. Once I was able to get 3 weapons at the same time, I was pretty much like, okay, I'm set. But now I'm at the end game. I don't have a lot to do, and I was hunting a lot the last couple of times I booted it up.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not the best thing to spend your time with, but if it's a necessity, then it's not. I don't know. Killing a golden tiger with a fucking bow and arrow is bullshit. I'll tell you that.
Something else I wanted to hit on was the some of the side quest type stuff. I don't know how you felt. I was not that into like the Call of the Hunter challenges and shit. I did have fun with the taking out the little outpost though. I did like the stealth aspects of that. It's
Yep.
fun.
Yep. The Call of the Hunter was only necessary for me to get the bigger item pouches or any crafting shit I needed. Anything else, it's like, if it's like, go kill 3 leopards, I'm just like, yeah, I'm all set. No thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, there's one where you gotta kill dogs with a fucking RPG, and they just run right up to you, and you end up just killing yourself.
Yeah.
It's pretty stupid.
I came across one. It was kill 3 leopards with a flamethrower. I was like, yeah, right. I'm gonna catch.
Yeah, you're gonna burn yourself with the flamethrower in this game.
Yeah, it's a very realistic flamethrower. I can tell you that much. You can.
The fire engine is ridiculous.
You have to in this game, you can also craft syringes. Most of the use for them is for medical purposes. You gain health regeneration slots by using them. But one of the other ones is you can make a fireproof one. It makes your player fireproof for like 20 seconds or something. So if you ever want to use a flamethrower, I recommend you craft those syringes. Otherwise, you're going to be losing a lot of health slots and holding down the Y button to put out a lot of fires. So.
Yeah, I mean, the fire engine is so ridiculous in this game that, like, you'll throw a Molotov into the woods, and 5 minutes later, the shit will light you back on fire.
Oh, right,
and you
yeah.
won't even realize what happened.
Yeah, and you were telling me you would fire off a flare gun, and it would pretty much set the forest on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, if you want to take down a bunch of guys, you can shoot off a flare gun near them in the grass or the woods, and it might kill them. You never know.
Yeah.
If you hit a guy, it'll light him on fire, and then he'll fall into the grass, light the grass on fire, and that'll light you on fire. So, I mean, the fire is just bullshit, but it is fun.
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, I also had, like, the most fun, the side thing that I had the most fun doing was the outpost. Not only when you unlock an outpost, you get to fast travel that area because in this game, like we were talking about before, Fallout, and I assume in Skyrim too, there's a fast travel system. So when you're able to fast travel these locations, it's a lot easier to get to story quests, objectives, or just anything else. They unlock, like we mentioned earlier, the Call of the Wild, the hunting missions, but they also do like hitman missions. There's supply drop quests, which is pretty much driving a vehicle to a certain period or to a certain place during a specific amount of time so you can get either cash and XP. There's other things too. There's just a whole bunch of
Sharpshooters.
Yeah, the sharpshooters. There's
the Trials of the Rakyat. Those are fun too.
The Rakyat are the in-game tribe that you eventually, through the storyline progression, are fighting for. And that's like little mini games pretty much where you can get a high score in. And they can be anything from like fucking up cars with an RPG to like stealth killing a whole bunch of guys during a time limit. So. Yep.
Literally anything and everything I've seen.
And there's a ton of collectibles in this game. Like I said, there's 3 different types. There's memory cards, which unlock when you get to the outposts, and they become your safe houses, they call them, your fast travel locations. There's 120 relics that are just scattered all around, and lost letters, which are pretty much the same thing as relics. They're just all over the place. and the only real reward for doing these is getting signature weapons, which are guns that are really badass, that have pretty much every single attachment on them and do ridiculous damage or have other awesome abilities.
Yeah, definitely the Bushman, as far as I can tell, is the best stealth weapon in the game. That's the M4 with the suppressor on it.
Yep.
And there's some others. I mean, honestly, the Bushman and the AMR are the only two that I had, but I know there are very good signature weapons too.
Yeah.
That's another. You reminded me a couple of minutes ago of something else I wanted to hit on. The map is actually, it's not as big as it first seems, but it feels very big.
Yes.
Even bigger than it actually is, just because there's so much shit on this fucking map.
Right.
And then on top of that, like, anywhere you go, you might run into like some sort of ambush or something, and like, there's really nowhere safe. Like, you actually feel when you play this game, when you first start, you actually feel like you're about to take on a whole fucking island of pirates.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just so I forget the word, like fucking when you get drawn in. What's the
Immersive.
word? Immersive, yes. It's a very immersive game, right at the beginning especially, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I honestly, one of the things I did was in this game, especially early on, you kind of have to be aware of your surroundings and be aware of the fact that there's probably going to be like random animals near you. And if you're not aware, a tiger's going to come out and fucking maul you. And I was playing this game so much that one night I went out to the store and I literally like whipped my head behind my back as I was getting to my car because I thought there was like a fucking bear behind me or something. And I don't know, I was just really fucking... That's pretty much how immersive this game can be.
Yeah, and I mean, every once in a while you'll like jump into the water and a fucking shark will be eating your face already.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen, but it's interesting. Like, it's just such a fucking fun game to play.
It's true to form. It's the jungle, man. I mean, that's it.
As far as the story goes, it is what it is. I mean, you do feel like a guy on a fucking island. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking as far as like the story goes, but it is interesting when you're playing through. So it'll hold your interest for sure. And I mean, by the end, you'll actually feel like you are Jason Brody because you just been through so much shit with this guy.
Yeah, and I thought the story was pretty well done. I mean, call it cliche, call it whatever you want. I mean, it was enough to build any type of emotion into you. You know, there are a couple parts in there where I was kind of like incredulous and otherwise like kind of turned off by it altogether, but otherwise I thought it was done really well. I still haven't even finished it. Dan's the only one that's fucking done it and completed it, but
That's just because I got it on day one.
Yeah.
So.
you know, I plan on finishing it soon, but like for the most part, like yeah, it's like watching like a really good fucking movie. Like it's good enough to the point where you could probably just fucking invite some random person over your house and make them watch you play this game, and they're probably going to be content with it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's probably so much shit that we missed when we played through,
Mm.
but I mean, it's just such a big game. It's definitely like, when I think like $60, like what is $60 worth? This is above and beyond.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know like what $60 is, but this is above and beyond $60 worth of fun for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't quick to call this like game of the year by any means. Like, it's not something that I was going to just automatically elect it. But the contrast from the second game to this one, I played Far Cry 2 a lot, and this is it has the same sort of feel to it, obviously, because it's a Far Cry game, but it's completely different. Like, they didn't just, you know, follow a form in their last game and were just, you know, content with just churning out a sequel. They actually revamped the entire system and gave the gamer pretty much a different experience altogether, while still keeping some great things that made Far Cry a great series. I didn't play the first one, but the second one I loved. This one has the same feel as the second one. Different setting, different objective, different side stuff. It's enough to bring anyone who has either played the series or not played it at all to play it and have fun. It's worth the money. I think it's probably Game of the Year by default.
Yeah, Far Cry 2, they kind of took it away from the tropical island setting just because they overdid that so much.
Yeah, right.
And just to get away from it, and I think they did a good job with that on its own. But then for 3, they brought it back to its roots, and they actually executed it better than any one of the previous games,
Right.
by far. And, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of a game that deserved fucking $60 more than this, or even at all, really. I mean, last year was just so bad for gaming.
Yeah, and it was a lot of sequel churning out to
Yep.
you know, Halo 4, Call of Duty, whatever we're on. So it doesn't
Halo
matter.
4 and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 were definitely 2 games that did not need to be made.
No.
And
Yeah.
honestly, like, that kind of shit is just bad for the industry in general, because then now we're going to see Halo 5 and Halo 6, and it's like, why did I see fucking Far Cry 4? Or, you know,
I mean,
Mass Effect 4.
I think it's not really anything to worry about. These games are going to be made regardless of what kind of reception they get. You know, just don't buy them if you really don't want to play them. I mean, I probably won't buy another one. It doesn't matter because, I mean, Far Cry was the game to buy this year. If you were the one person who was trying to be very frugal and not spend your money on something that you weren't going to get a lot of replay value, and you would pretty much not buy any other game except this one.
Well, my point there was just that, like, I don't want to see fucking every series turn into Madden. You know, I don't need Halo 5 next year. I don't need Call of Duty every year, but they just decided that that's the way they want to go with this shit. And good games just get shitted on because Halo 4 breaks the sales record, and then Halo 5 breaks the sales record.
Well,
You know?
no, I know that. It's just this generation of mindless gaming that's sort of kind of arisen, I think. You know, people just want to, you know, kill time, so they're going to play a match of Call of Duty.
It's weird, too, because when this first started, I always think of the fall of 2007 as like the beginning of fucking gaming in the mainstream with all the good games that came out then. When that happened, I did not see this shit coming, but it was going in this direction the entire time. And great games, Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4 came out, and I was like, this is the best year in gaming ever, among other things like Rock Band and Mass Effect 1. And now here we are 5 years later, and I'm playing Halo 4, and it's just the worst fucking thing I've ever... I don't hate Halo, but Halo 4 is not Halo 4. It's Halo 3.1.1.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just these games they're not very interesting anymore. There's no real evolution within the games themselves. There's no evolution in Call of Duty. I don't know if there's anything you can do with it. It is what it is. It's kind of like pointless.
That's, the modern military shooter, I think, has run its fucking course. Call of Duty 4 was one of the best games I've ever played, but I can't take it anymore, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of like, they're definitely beating a dead horse there, but...
Yeah, I think it's time to go back to World War II, or just figure something out, or take a 1-year break, for fuck's sake. I mean,
I think, you know, I played Medal of Honor, and, you know, that was, you know, your usual military shooter, but it was different because you could fight for your own nation. This review has gotten so far off topic. This is fucked.
no, I think I'm going to turn this into the first episode of the podcast now.
Oh.
I was about to text you that, but since you just said it.
Well, whatever.
I was just going to leave the thing running for another 5 to 10 minutes.
I just finished. I already finished my thought. That was pretty much it.
The one thing I did like about Medal of Honor was that you can tell that somebody who was in the military at some time wrote those games, because they have a much different feel than Call of Duty. It's not all about the fucking action movie trailers, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't even play Warfighter, but the first one was an actual battle that happened in Afghanistan in 2001. And I think it was really interesting. You get the nitty-gritty, and it's not like, oh, we're going to play SEALs and SAS. They kept it pretty contained to where, like, you had the SEALs, and they were kind of running their shit, and Delta Force was kind of covering their back. And then when all the shit goes to fuck, the Ranger Regiment comes in and saves all their asses.
Yeah.
It was a fun game to play. It was not like the most amazing thing I've ever played, but I think it was. You could tell that somebody who was in the military had a part in making that shit.
I'm sure of it. And isn't this what we kind of said before about Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway?
My God.
When we thought that should have probably won Game of the Year just off the story alone and what we played with it, and the multiplayer was good too, but who the fuck cares? It was such a good game. Like, it was it was such a good story that like you pretty much just like took your pants off and were like, give it Game of the Year.
That's the way Brothers in Arms always was. Like, they were just focused on just those guys from, well, just basically Matt Baker's story.
Yeah.
And it was very contained. But I think, yeah, like, when you talk about just making a story out of, 10 guys, it was just so interesting the way they did that. And it's really a shame that we never saw the next one, because they're about to go to the Battle of the Bulge. And if you don't know your World War II history, the Battle of the Bulge is the single bloodiest battle that the United States has ever been involved in.
Very, very, very unfortunate. But
hopefully we'll still see it. I mean, they were making the cartoon version, and then they said after that they might go back. So I'd like to see that. I don't know. I'd hope to see it someday. But yeah, we're off topic now, but I figured we could just use this as a podcast because it actually is, like, I think, an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And fuck it, we got to put out a first episode eventually, so I'll just use this.
I don't know what else to move into, though, with this.
I don't know, we were just shitting on mainstream gaming for the most part. I'm just trying to think of other stuff that came out this year that even, like, holds a candle to this. I mean, it was just, I'm not saying that, like, everything was shit, but it was just a weak year. I mean, everything... How'd you feel about Assassin's Creed 3? Because in the end, it felt like such a letdown to me.
Okay, well, honestly, I wish I had played more of that, because I played a bunch of it, and then all of a sudden, like, I bought Borderlands 2, and then all these other games, and I'd just kind of forgotten about it. But when I was playing it, I thought it was really good. I came into it skeptical because I didn't like the idea of it being set during revolutionary times, but I got over that fact. And you don't even... Like, you play most of it as someone who's not, like, running around in a fucking, white robe stabbing fucking, revolutionary war soldiers. You're fucking pissing on Brits with some other douche.
It makes sense the way they did it. Have you seen The Patriot?
I believe I saw it during a history class.
Okay, yeah, I watched that movie when it first came out. I think I was, like, 6 years old. And, like, ever since then, I always thought the Revolutionary War was really fucking cool. So when this game came out, I was actually kind of excited to, like, see that side of it because, I mean, we both, even before Assassin's Creed 1 came out, we both were, like, waiting for that game, and it was a letdown. But I think 2, like, redeemed that fucking first game. And I was kind of expecting 3 to take it to the next level.
Yeah, they'd spawned about 40,000 fucking sequels from the second one. Like all the
but the second one itself was actually a good game. The sequels were not whatever they were. They were like spin-offs. Yeah. They were more like spin-offs.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, spin-offs were shit.
Revelations and Brotherhood, they both kind of sucked. But 3 I was really looking forward to, and in the end, I mean, I realized something, like, Assassin's Creed, like, it's actually fun when you're in the past playing as the fucking guy, but where this whole series fell apart was with the modern-day shit. And it was just so fucking convoluted, and, like, they had, like, 5 different fucking stories going on. And I just realized that, like, if they never put that shit in there and didn't explain it, it would have been a much better series.
Right, but you know what? The series wouldn't have survived. I don't think the series would have survived if they didn't have that, like, split storyline with, like, what was happening in the real world and then what was happening in the Animus world. So that was, like, I agree. Like, it was so much better, like, just ignoring, like, the reality of any present day anything going on. And just, like, going back, if it's Assassin's Creed 1, going to whatever, Damascus and all those other great places,
Jerusalem and some other fucking place.
Can't remember them. But, I mean...
Port City.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really liked the first game. I don't know, the second game was alright. I preferred the first one more. I don't know why. I just liked it more. I really don't know why. I just thought it was...
They improved the gameplay so much in the second one. Like, yeah, I think the first one was a more interesting time period. I think it was a more interesting story, but the gameplay was just so much better in the second one that I couldn't say that the first one was better.
Yeah, I mean, it's a time period thing, too. I mean, like, when you get to a point where you're older and you're doing different things, it's harder to get immersed in games as they come out and what they do to you and the impact they have you. And games that offered you nostalgia when you were younger, you're going to have a much more slanted view on, even if it was a complete pile of shit. You won't know that.
Yeah.
It's just nostalgia. So yeah,
I've gone back and played GoldenEye, and I was like, fuck, man, this game used to be so interesting.
yeah. So I mean,
And now I'm just like, yep, just play Cradle 19 times in a row, and there you go.
see, like, but then I mean, like we mentioned before, there's Call of Duty 4. That's not, it's nostalgia, but it's also a fucking fantastic game. Like, it came out, and you know, people were ripping Call of Duty 3 to shreds because it was so bad. I had it for the Wii, and that was the worst fucking combination you could ever ask for. So I mean, yeah, that was terrible. And then the fourth one comes out, and you pretty much just like you pretty much put aside all your jizz rags, and you pretty much just played that game all you wanted.
Honestly, like, I was a big fan of Call of Duty 1 and 2, and then when 3 came out, I was like, okay, I'm going to tell myself this game is good, but deep down inside, I knew it was shit. And nowadays, I would say it's shit, but as, like, a fucking 13-year-old kid, I was like, wow, Call of Duty 3, this is so innovative. But then I saw they were taking it to, like, modern war period, and I was like, okay, this doesn't look too good. And then I actually watched the trailer, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This game is going to be fucking outstanding, and honestly, like, I can't think of a more fun first-person shooter that I've ever played, and honestly, like, just all around, just a fucking great game.
I don't know if it was just the time period or what, but there was not a day when that game came out that none of us in, like, our school group or anywhere in the entire fucking world that wasn't playing that. Like, it's just ridiculous.
We were playing with, like, every kid in our grade. We'd just be like, oh yeah, this kid's playing with us now. Oh, this kid.
Yep.
And then, I mean, that's the game that pretty much killed Halo 3. I mean, we all thought Halo 3 was going to be, like, the biggest fucking thing ever. And then 2 months later, we're like, oh, Call of Duty 4, never mind.
Dude, actually, Halo got its ass kicked.
It really did. And I mean, that wasn't even that bad of a game.
No, it wasn't, but, like,
Call of Duty 4
doesn't it
just shat all over it.
Doesn't it, like, bring a smile to your face? You're like, wow, like, it actually killed it. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not even, like, it's not a bad thing. Like, Halo will always have its cult following. You still had days where you go play that game, but there wasn't any reason to once Call of Duty 4 came out. There wasn't any reason to play any fucking game when Call of Duty 4 came out.
Yeah, and I mean, I already talked about Fall 2007, but just the amount of fucking good games that came out, it's there's a reason that game was on top.
Yeah. During the steroid era, when it pitched its way to glory, that's why it's
That's
in the Hall of
exactly
Fame.
that was. That was the steroid era.
But that's
That was when they...
And that's the one pitcher that actually did that good during the steroid era. That's like the
He's
Pedro
the Roger
Martinez.
Clemens.
No, he's the
Oh,
Pedro Martinez.
okay. Oh, you were going, like, actual, like, legitimate pitcher.
Yeah, no, like literally, Call of Duty 4 is Pedro Martinez.
Pedro Martinez, great pitcher. Great pitcher.
Pitching through the steroid era. And that's like, what I was thinking of too was, just recently, none of these idiots from, you know, the Baseball Hall of Fame want to elect anyone in the Hall of Fame at all, which is, I mean, maybe it's a good decision, I don't know, I don't really care. But this year was kind of like the year where, like, nothing gets elected to, like, Game of the Year, like, aside from Far Cry. But this next ballot that has, like,
Oh, yeah.
Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux and Frank Thomas and fucking so many other people on. This one that has,
And
like,
Digio will get it next year.
yeah, well, this next year of gaming that has, like, GTA 5 and, like, all these other games that are coming out, you're going to have some legitimate contenders and legitimate first ballot Hall of Famers for Game of the Year next year.
I'll be interested to see, yeah, obviously GTA 5. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, when have they ever gone wrong? I'm going to keep buying Grand Theft Auto games till they make a bad one, basically.
I'm never going to stop buying Grand Theft Auto games, ever.
But my point is, they've never fucked up in the past, and it's going to take a big one to make me not buy, you know, the next one. But I'm going to be interested to see what the next Infinity Ward fucking Call of Duty is, because I think they've run Modern Warfare into the ground.
I don't know if, I haven't followed this. I know Infinity Ward is, like, nothing. It's, like, a different, like, sector altogether. Like, there's people from Infinity Ward, and then there's people from Infinity Ward who left and, like, made something else, some other studio or whatever. So I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if there's.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I don't know if there's, like, a development process between Infinity Ward and that, or if they're separate now, or what's happening. But truly, I would like to see Call of Duty do something completely different, or just something that is at least refined in some way, because now I just feel like we're slapping shit upon shit upon shit upon shit, and it's just so muddled at this point that I don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah, like, I literally can't distinguish my memories of playing Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Like, that's how shitty it is now. But, yeah, just the compounding sucks, and then fucking... Oh, I just had a good point that I forgot. Fuck.
Just think
Those games... Oh, yeah, it was Brothers in Arms. Just make a fucking intelligent story with interesting characters, and you don't have to take it out of World War II. See, the interesting thing they did with those games is the first game is Normandy, the second game is the fucking invasion of Holland, Operation Market Garden. The third one would have been the Battle of the Bulge. Like, you don't have to take it out of World War II, just focus on one fucking battle and make it interesting, and you can leave it in whatever the fuck time period you want. You don't need to go to 2025. The next Call of Duty game is Halo 1. That's basically what it's going to be.
No, yeah, it's exactly right. Like, they're concerned with pushing the pace so much that, like, we're going to be in fucking future warfare at this point. Like, it's stupid. I don't want to play something that's just going to be Halo 1. Like, it's just, I don't know. They don't...
I've seen screens of Black Ops that they literally look like they're wearing Halo helmets, so...
It's like the scope of games. Like, I feel like now at this point, Call of Duty wants to run so fast through time periods and battles that, like, literally, like, if they had just, like, calmed the fuck down and did, like, a really good job, like you said, Brothers in Arms did, on, like, certain key battles that were important in history, anything, like, modern, or even made up. Fucking make something up, but just do, like, a really good job at, like, focusing on that one area, instead of just, okay, now there's a battle, okay, here's the next one, okay, actually, we're 4 years ahead of time now, okay.
That's an interesting point, actually. Give me an alternate history where we're fighting the Soviet Union in the 1960s. You know, give me some shit like that.
Anything.
Fuck Cold War, but it, like, literally kicks off to fucking legit war. Like, that would be interesting.
Yeah, but I think, you know, at this point, if we're going to stay on the Call of Duty franchise, it's gone away from the story. Like, yeah, they still write a story. Yeah, some people still play it. Yeah, some people still say it's good. But I think most people who are buying the game, they're just buying it for the multiplayer.
Yeah, and competitive multiplayer is such a weird thing for me because, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, I fucking hate it, but at the same time, like, it's not all that interesting sometimes.
No.
Sometimes it's like, it's not the reason to buy a fucking game.
It is, I think there's a culture out there that really does like that, and it's a majority.
I hate that culture, though. I gotta be honest with you.
But I think it's like, I think a majority of that culture drives these games, and other people just kind of like, are just sort of complacent, like, oh, well, I guess we'll play too, sort of thing. And it's not...
That's how I am.
Yeah, and I mean, that's... I think competitive multiplayer, it's for people who just would rather... I don't know, I feel like it's not interesting enough to draw me in to try to play and, like, beat, like, other people at over, like, a score, over, like, a kill-death ratio. Like, I don't
give
a fuck.
I don't give a shit about that either. Like, I don't care if fucking red team wins for the 9 millionth time, you know? Like, I think I've grown out of that, and I used to be all about that when I was like 12 on my PC, but I think I've grown out of this fucking bullshit nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, as a gamer you mature, but you always have the instinct of wanting to, like, be told a great story. I mean, when you're a fucking kid and you're going to bedtime and you read a bedtime story, I think most of us who play games, most of us who like games, we like a good story. I think most games that, you know, settled deep within our heart were from games that told great stories. I think when you play Call of Duty, it's almost like you're playing something hollow at this point. It's like no
That's
put into it.
True.
It's just, I don't know. And, I mean, I could be completely wrong. I haven't even fucking touched the story for Black Ops 2 because I don't fucking want to. It's not interesting. And I'm sick of these stories because it's all the same shit. And honestly, if it were to be actually marketed towards the story, maybe I'd fucking look at it. But no, the marketing was towards the fucking multiplayer, like it always is.
And I think they mislearned, or they learned some shit, but they learned the wrong things about Call of Duty 4. And like they just thought, well, if we keep adding, you know, gay stuff in, it'll be fun. And now you got, you know, robots that you can drive across the map and blow up in the other team's spawn and fucking all this dumb shit.
I just don't think there's any reason to continue feeding into this monster.
I'll buy another Call of Duty game when I see a trailer that makes me say wow, like the Call of Duty 4 trailer made me say wow.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much how I feel about that franchise.
I couldn't agree more.
But yes, Grand Theft Auto now is probably the one massive thing on my radar.
Yeah,
at this
for
point.
sure. I think it should be on everybody's radar, especially because it looks like a very polished version of what San Andreas was, based on the same area, and I guess everything about it. I don't know. It's definitely a different story, but
I was under the impression that they were only going for the Los Angeles city, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. this would have been better if we had done actual research for it, but at the same time, it's mostly just games you're going to watch anyways, and who gives a fuck, I'm buying GTA 5.
They never tell you much shit about Grand Theft Auto before it comes out anyway, but as far as I know, they haven't announced that San Fierro or Las Venturas or the big-ass desert or, any of that shit's going to be in.
I'm sure it'll be a different map scheme altogether, but the definitely LA and Compton areas are going to be in the game like the last one.
I think, what was it, Los Santos was the name of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically LA.
Yep.
That's the only thing, I don't know. This is the only thing I'm really excited for at this point. I got a lot of shit on my plate in real life anyway, so it's not like that really matters, but...
Oh, well, same here. I think it's something to just keep an eye on, because it's definitely going to be something that you can just pick up and play whenever you want.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto is a tried and true formula.
For sure.
Let's put it that way.
Once again, I couldn't agree more.
What else do we want to touch on before we peace out here?
I think
we got about 45 minutes, which is like a decent length for a podcast. I think we covered a lot of shit. We reviewed Far Cry. I think we did what we came here to do.
Yeah, we pretty much just did a podcast without having the intention of doing one.
That's all right. I'm sure Ethan will come on late. Well, we started off normal, and then I was like, well, fuck this. Now let's just shit on every series. So
yeah, well, it still worked. This recording's gonna run out though.
Yeah, so we'll end here, and we'll just say we'll be back in the near future, hopefully with Ethan.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely have more stuff to talk about next week for sure, because there's always shit to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely.